Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest.
Hi guys.
I think you know him. This is my husband, Drew.
Y'all don't know me. I hide from the camera.
If they're new, maybe not because you haven't been on in a while. But today I wanted to do a Get Real with Renee episode. And today we're going to be talking about our love story. So it's kind of like a story time Get Real with Renee.
Battery's gonna die.
Are you serious? So, if you want to hear our love story,
Oh.
then just keep watching. Okay, so,
I'm off frame.
we're not going to mention any names because, you know, we're respecting people's privacy, but, yeah. We're going to talk about how we met, kind of things like circumstances of like how we kind of surrounded each other for like a few years before we officially met, and how we fell in love. This is too corny for you, huh?
It's not too corny, I'm just nervous.
Okay, so the first time that we ever saw each other was actually like, so it was probably like what, ninth? I was probably in 9th grade. So it was about three years before we met. So I think I was in 10th grade. I was in 9th or 10th grade. So it was like 2 or 3 years before we actually like met officially. But we went to a friend's mutual birthday party.
Sons, yeah.
Our mutual friend's child's birthday party.
Well, I guess she was my girlfriend at the time.
No, she wasn't. You didn't act like she was your girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. I was there with your ex. I was there with your ex.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So he walked in with my ex-boyfriend, and I didn't know that he was going to be there. And so I, like, the first thing I did, I didn't really talk to you at all because I was just trying to do that whole avoiding thing because I just didn't want awkwardness or drama or anything like that. So I was kind of just like in my own little place over there, and she was like actually our mutual friend. She was one of my best friends, and so I kind of like hung around her, and then I like I think a group of us went to go play games and stuff. So I really didn't see, I saw him walking in with my ex, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time looking because I was kind of, you know, avoiding. But
I'll never forget them black pants you had on.
he knows exactly what I was wearing and everything.
Black pants, the zebra striped shirt.
So, yeah, I just think that was kind of funny because we didn't officially meet, but we had the same circle of friends. Like I said, he was friends with my ex, and I was friends with, you guys had already dated?
No, we had not dated yet.
You had not dated yet? And I actually never knew you guys dated until after we were engaged.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, so yeah, we had mutual friends, mutual exes, and you know, all that stuff. So so that was the first time we met, and then we never spoke or anything. It just kind of happened to be at the same party, but I just brought that up because we kind of circled around each other, and I know you noticed me, and
hard to ignore them black pants you had on.
those were my favorite pants. But anyway, so then I had gotten, I think it was another year or so later, I had gotten a gift for my birthday, and it was an iPod. And I could tell that the iPod was used, and I didn't know like what was going on. I was like, it's kind of weird. Like, cause yeah, if you buy someone else's iPod or whatever, like you usually just like clear off all the music. I don't know, it was kind of weird, but I just like kind of put it to the side. Like it had nothing I listened to on it, and so I just kind of like left it to the side. I think I had another one, and I didn't use it at all. So that's kind of important for later. So then when I was in my senior year, and you were 19. See? Yeah, because I was 17 turning 18, and you were 19 turning 20.
Sounds about right.
Because I met you when you were 19. Anyway, so we had still the same circle of friends, a little bit different. There's only one similar person. But I started dating this guy, and he was in that circle of friends. And
Ish.
He was, because that's the only way how did I meet him? It was through my ex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was kind of like a subsect of the group. It was not like my main circle, the main circle, I guess I should say.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even in the main circle?
No, you weren't in the main circle. Come on now.
Okay. Anyway, so I started dating this guy who knew my ex, and we dated for, God, I don't even know. It wasn't very long. It was like 3 or 4 months maybe, right? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we would all hang out, and everyone rode motorcycles and everything like that. So he was in that, I guess it wasn't the group.
Well, okay. Yeah, if we're talking about the motorcycle group, that's the group.
Yeah, that's how
I thought we were talking
met.
about like the group. Okay. She's right. It's the main group.
I don't know.
I
Well, I know you had other friends. You know, everybody. Like, we all hung out together. And, so we would just see each other. And I don't even know if we even talked. But we just saw each other in the same group. And, so we knew who we were. Like, I knew he was Drew. He knew I was Renee. And, like, that's kind of all it was for a while. And, then one day I was driving home from, school. I had my sister with me, I believe. I had picked her up from school and I was driving home, and we're on this street and I came up to a red light and there's a car right in front of me, and then I see like a huge space between, in the next lane between there's this truck right next to me, and then like there's like 3 or 4 cars with spaces but till the next car.
She's leaving out the fact that we were in like heavy rush hour traffic.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 o'clock.
It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Westbound on the
So it was like heavy
one
traffic,
of
yeah.
3 river bridges
So it
in
was
town.
so weird, and I was like, I could just like feel someone looking at me, so I like looked over, and I just like see this guy looking at me. And if you guys don't know, I'm like super blind, and I used to never wear my glasses.
Blind. I don't know how you drove without killing everybody.
I'm worse now. It wasn't as bad back then, but I can't see very well. Everything's very blurry, and so I couldn't see who it was looking at me, and I was just like, why is this guy just staring at me? So creepy. And then I, like, the more I looked and like was squinting, I was like, oh, that's Drew. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he was like, hey. And we're like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just going home. He's like, oh yeah, I'm done with work. And I was like, well, you know, we should hang out sometime. Text me. And like, he's like, okay, cool. And then we just took off.
Parted ways. Nobody exchanged numbers. Or
we didn't have each other's numbers. Cause like I said, we never really talked before. And so, I don't know, I just felt like I'm not usually the kind of person to like heavily pursue or like go after a guy, because I'm usually dating somebody and I'm that girl that's always in a relationship. And so, but I just had this feeling that I really wanted to talk to him, and I don't know why, because we never talked before.
It's pretty bad though.
No, it's not. I ended up getting his number. Yes, I got it through your ex, but I didn't know she was your ex at the time. Like I said, I didn't know she was your ex until after we were engaged.
Oh.
And she never told me. And I just wanted to like talk and see what was up. Me and my boyfriend at the time were having like some serious issues. He was very distant, and I was pretty sure he was cheating on me. I didn't have any like proof or anything, so we were kind of going through some issues and everything. So we were just talking. We hung out one time, and I took a ride on his motorcycle. We had some Taco Bell, and we just kind of would hang out, and then we would hang out kind of like in a smaller group. It'd be like me and my best friend and him, and then sometimes his best friend. And we would just like kind of start hanging out, because my boyfriend was always like, I'm busy, and then he would not text me. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends then. And then one day when we were all hanging out, like at this point, it was very innocent. We were just like, I think we probably did some innocent flirting, but we weren't like doing any heavy flirting, I don't think. But we were driving around, and he was, again, my boyfriend was ignoring me, and I knew he was at home, and I think we were gonna go see what he was doing. We went to his apartment, and Drew goes, hey, that's his ex's truck or some whatever, his truck, right? Like a
Grand Cherokee, yeah. Jeep.
And so I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. And I was like, that's interesting, because he's ignoring me, and now his ex is vehicles in the parking lot. So me and my best friend, we went over to the door, and I like was pounding on the door, and I was like, open the door, I know you're in there. And he opened it, and like all the, yeah, it's long story short, he was cheating on me. And so I broke up with him right then and there, and I was super upset. And that night I went and I hung out with my brother and my best friend and my brother's best friend, and we had a few, and it was just, I was just like super upset. And then I think, why did I have to see you the next morning?
Because you left your keys in my pocket.
I left,
Yeah,
because,
her truck keys were in my pocket.
yeah, because my friend had taken me. I was too upset to drive or anything, and we weren't driving when we were, you know, drinking. So I left my keys in his pocket, and then the next morning I needed to see him, and that's kind of when things started to get like more serious. Like I appreciated that he was honest with me and told me, and we'd always kind of had, I was always like felt this connection, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking a lot. You want to tell your side?
You keep shutting me down every time I say something.
Because you're like, oh, you're talking to my ex, and oh, this and this and this, and I'm like, you make me sound awful. Okay. Anyway, so I don't even know. Like, we kind of just started talking. We didn't start dating until, let's see, we broke up. Me and my ex broke up in like the summer, because I remember it was really warm. It was maybe September, August or September, because it was after my birthday. And then we didn't actually start dating until December.
Yeah, it was December 14th, right? Yeah, I know and you don't.
Is it 14th?
It's the 14th. Because we were...
I feel like I know that. Is it 12th? I think it's the 12th.
We were headed out... Oh, yeah, you're right. It's the 12th.
It's the 12th.
Because it was right before we headed out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I still hung out with my ex who cheated on me, because honestly, as a couple, we were not a good couple. Like, it just never felt right. But we were really good friends. And before we dated, and then after we dated, we were actually really good friends. But since we were friends, we kind of were hiding that we were dating, because we didn't want it to be awkward, or...
I didn't want to get beat up.
Yeah, he wouldn't have beat you up.
Yeah, but he was big enough to do it.
He was, but he wouldn't have. But... So we stayed friends, because we just always were really good friends. But yeah, we were hiding that we were dating all the way up until probably Valentine's Day, because that's when we got like engaged. We moved really fast. We did all this really backwards.
Yeah, we lived together before we started dating, and then...
Yeah, he moved out of his current apartment and moved in, and I had moved out of my mom's house because we were not seeing eye to eye, and I was 18 at the time, and I thought that I was Miss Independent, and I didn't want to follow any rules, so I moved out of my mom's house, and I was living with my ex, who was not, he was my ex at the time. We were not dating at all, and then he moved in with us as well, and so we lived together before we were dating, and then, yeah, then we hit it, and then we got engaged on like Valentine's Day. Was it Valentine's Day?
Probably.
It was around Valentine's Day.
The first time.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
He's proposed to me like 5 times. And then broken up with me like
4
times, yeah. So, yeah. So we got engaged, and then we moved back into my mom's house, and we were already like planning the wedding and everything, so my mom let him move in with us. And we broke up. We broke the engagement quite a few months later. We were engaged for maybe like 8 months ish. I don't know. It's hard to remember like the timeline.
Yeah.
But we broke off the engagement. We actually saw a premarital counselor because we started having like a lot of issues. And I kind of want to go into more of our ups and downs another time, because this is more of our love story. But to sum it up, we broke up shortly after that because I couldn't handle like the fact that he just didn't want to marry me anymore. And so we broke up, got back together, broke up, got back together, and I think we broke up one more time. Yep. and then I told myself I was not going to talk to him for an entire month, because like I just kept going and doing the same thing. And just to say, he broke up with me every single time. I didn't break up with him at all. But I told him, I said, I'm not going to talk to him for an entire month. And this whole time we had been living together like on and off too. And finally a month went by, and I think it was Father's Day. And I had texted him, And then I don't know, everything was just different all of a sudden. Like, I talked to you for like a little while, and anytime I would like stop talking to him, he'd get mad at me, like if I had to like go or something. And it was just like that, and he never used to be that way. And and then finally I decided I wanted to meet up with him and talk to him, so we met at Starbucks. And the plan was just to have like a 20-30 minute conversation and just meet up and catch up and talk. We spent the entire rest of the afternoon and evening and into the night. We were just hanging out. Like, I think, where did we go? I know we went to our field at one point, but we drove around something with your brother. You had to do something with your brother. I don't know, but he was like, I gotta go do this. I was like, oh, okay. And I had somewhere I was planning. I was thinking I was going to meet my friend. And he's like, well, you want to come? And I was like, okay. Like, it just sucks because I was like, no, this is only going to be like a few minutes. Like, I just wanted it to be short and sweet. Like, I don't know, just so that we didn't just jump into things again like we normally did. I wanted to do it different.
2 weeks later, we were married.
Yeah, we went to our field. And it was just our field. We would always go there and talk. And we would sit there for hours and talk. Hours. And so we went there, and he was just like, let's just get married. And I was like, okay. He's like, no, really, like, let's elope. And I was like, hey, no, my mom would absolutely kill me, and I would never do that to her if I eloped. And I was like, so let's just get married like quickly. We'll just do a very like cheap, short, like, you know, nothing too crazy of a wedding, because I didn't want him to back out again. Like, and obviously we wanted to like be together. It's just like, I don't know what his problem was. He just kept changing his mind. But I was like, let's do it quickly. We'll just do something fast. And then it turned out that the date that we were supposed to get married the year before, I think, it was in a couple of weeks. And I was like, let's just get married on the date that we had planned to get married, you know, just a year later. And he was like, okay. And we're like, well, when is that? I was like, oh my God, it's in 2 weeks. And so he's like, let's do it. And I was like, okay. And so we threw together a very beautiful, small wedding. It was in a, at this like bed and breakfast in Algodones, right?
Algodones, yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the actual place.
Well, I mean, it's closed now, so it don't matter. Yeah, it's been closed for like the last couple of years.
What?
Yeah.
I wanted to go back there.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's this really, really old chapel on the grounds, and it was dirt floor and everything. It was very old, but it's so beautiful. And they had a really good price, so we could have it there. We could have an hour afterward with like a champagne toast, but I was 20 when we got married, so I couldn't have champagne. And then we got to stay the night there and have breakfast the next morning and everything. So yeah, we had our beautiful little wedding. I'll try to find some pictures.
$2,843, including the rings. That's what it costs.
Yeah, but that's not including my dress, though.
I know your dress was ridiculous.
Because I bought the dress.
She bought the dress before
the first time we were engaged, yeah. And I just kept it because I really hadn't given up hope yet. But yeah,
good thing you didn't.
He sold my first ring though, so we had to get new rings. And yeah, and I had my dress, which was good because that was a big chunk of money. And we didn't have to spend that again. So yeah, when we got married, we didn't have like much of a honeymoon because we were like two broke kids. And my mom said she would give us a month we could live with her, and that we could save up and find a place. And we moved into our very first condo, and I love that place. I miss that place. Like, it was just, even though first year of our marriage was like the most difficult time ever, I still like look back on that place very fondly because it was also a lot of good times too, and things that we were trying to figure stuff out and figure out our lives together.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for the HOA there, it would have been grand.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of our story. I do want to go on another time and go through like how our relationship, how turbulent it kind of was, and how we found our way every time, and how we have actually, for the past almost 3 years, we've been in a really, really good place. Like, we haven't been, I think we've had 2 major arguments in 3 years.
Have we?
Like, we've bickered and argued, but those arguments that are bad, like...
Well, that's the key, I think, to not having the bad arguments, is to bicker.
Oh yeah,
more regularly.
We're good at that.
Yeah.
We bicker all the time.
You know, if you just do it right then, nothing's building up. You don't.
Yeah, well, and it's true.
It's way better to just have a whole bunch of little fights because you don't want to kill each other most of the time.
And as long as, because yeah, we'll get into. We both, him and I both did really bad things to each other, and it just, a lot of stuff was bad. So I want to go through that at another point. I kind of wanted to keep this like lighthearted and fun. Yeah, you.
No, I don't think I want to be involved in that video. That doesn't sound like fun.
You gotta be honest.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it would be fun to like talk about, the iPod.
Oh yeah,
I forgot that part of the story. So when he moved in with my mom and I and my sister, I was cleaning out my room, making room for him, and because I had a twin size bed there, and like,
and we made that work for a
little while,
like 6 months.
You had a full size.
Did I?
And we brought your bed in, and then we also needed to put a bed over there for Shellery too. I think she took my twin size. So anyways, I had to rearrange my whole room, clean it, because it was a wreck, because I was like a 18-year-old person who didn't care about anything. But as I was cleaning stuff out and he was helping me, he picked up the iPod and he was like, hey, this looks just like the iPod that I used to have.
Unnamed.
And I was like, oh, like this so-and-so gave me it, and I just never... I did anything with it because I didn't like the music on it. And he was like, well, this looks exactly like it, and we'll know if we turn it on and there's Fast and the Furious on there. And we turned it on, and it turns out, yep, that was Drew's. I just like thought it was so crazy. First we like saw each other at that birthday party a couple years before we actually met. And then I ended up with his iPod. And then as we're engaged, we're living together, and he finds it. And I just thought that was just a really cool thing.
Unique and interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you seen that iPod lately?
We're meant to be. No. Who's seen an iPod anytime in the last 5 years?
My iPhone stopped working. I can't plug it into the truck no more.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see the marriage kind of stuff, give it a thumbs up, and he'll do it. I think it's good to be honest and to talk about how we made it through things like that, especially the first year, because a lot of people have trouble in the first year and give up, and it's easy to do that. So I think it'd be interesting and also helpful, I think, for some people to just like stick things out. And yeah, because look where we are now. We're in a great place now.
And if by some unfortunate...
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you sure we're recording?
I'm sure. Because I watched the screen change.
Okay. I was like, we just like told the whole story. Okay. Whew, that would suck. I'm going to have to go back and look. What were you saying?
So, if some unfortunate male soul stumbles upon this video and makes it to this point, and you're at the point in your marriage where your in-laws still think you're just the scum of the earth and terrible, it'll get better. It'll get better. Just don't mistreat your lady.
I don't think they thought you were the scum of the earth.
Okay, maybe not the scum of the earth, but they definitely did not like me.
They weren't your biggest fan for a while. But yeah, no, he's literally a part of the family now. Like, they call him son, and everyone loves him and knows that he's taking good care of me. So, yes, it does get better.
Wait it out. Hold it out, especially if you like the girl.
Well, and work on it. You don't just sit there and do all the same stuff just because she's sticking around. Like, we really had to work. Both of us had to work on our stuff. And if you see the progress, then people see how hard you're trying. And anyways,
yeah, don't be scared to work for it, though. Don't be scared to work for it. It's a lot of fun. It's worth it.
Even though for a long time you didn't want to. Yeah, so I love you.
I love you.
That was the crappiest kiss. Come here.
I don't like the camera. The camera makes me nervous. Also, it makes my neck look 5 miles long. I don't know why it's doing that.
You're weird. Okay, like I said, thumbs up if you guys want to see our marriage story, or like, I don't know how I'm gonna go about that, but yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.